All right, what's going on, guys? Week 5 of the free Podio training tips and tricks. And this week, you guys voted on wanting to hear more about the Scorecard app that we had built out. So, what I want to do is kind of just go over what it is, what we've built out, and what the thought is potentially with this layout or workspace. Basically, what's happened here is I found it necessity on our part, on our business, obviously, to have a weekly number that we're working towards, a monthly, a quarterly, and an annual number. Obviously, you can track that in a whole lot of different ways, a number of ways. But for us, it's something that obviously we do on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual basis. Being that it's a weekly thing, often it happens 52 times in a year. It makes sense to possibly automate that. And the fact that we have obviously a CRM and clients with that CRM, it just makes even more sense to use some resources and build some stuff out that can be automated when it's fairly simple to do it. And so what we've done here in the last week or week and a half is built out now a full workspace for the EOS traction model for real estate investment, and basically being able to track your numbers and automate that in a matter or in a sense of a way that this could be potentially bolted on to any Podio setup, not just our CRM. I'm not sure if we're going to go down that path or not. It really depends on kind of how I hear from you guys, and if that's something that you're interested in, or it might be something that we just keep it as an exclusive thing for our CRM. It makes sense to bring clients in that are wanting to track their numbers, and they're not just kind of taking a stab at the stuff. They take it as a business, and they know that the numbers matter. So what we can do is I'll go over what these apps are, what they do, and kind of the workspace layout. And at the end, I'll ask for any kind of input that y'all might have, whether you want to send me a Facebook message, comment on the video, whatever the case may be, but your feedback would be much appreciated. What we've got here is a workspace with a couple different apps. The first one is going to be your weekly meetings, your level 10 meetings, as EOS calls them. And I'll show you what these apps look like inside here in a minute, but that's the first one. The second one is going to be where you guys would come in, and each employee that is assigned a KPI every week, month, quarter, year would be coming in here and filling in their numbers for that specific time frame and that KPI. I have found that even though you can automate bringing in the KPIs, you're actually better off to make them fill it in, and they are more accountable to the number, and yes, they met it, no, they didn't meet it, oh crap, I didn't meet it, what needs to change, and what can we do to make sure that that doesn't happen again. The next one is going to be what's called rocks, and so these are 3 to 7 priorities that are important to your company for the next 90 days. So every quarter you set 3 to 7 rocks. Y'all decide as a company whether it is a company rock, a department rock, or individual rock, and I'll show you what that looks like. But those are driven towards obviously your annual goals and semi-annual type goals that you may have, and then ultimately a 1-year, 3-year, and 10-year plan of where you're really headed down the path. In order to make some of this happen, it's easy to use some of the documents that EOS and Traction provides. So what we've done is we've got some of those Word docs, PDF docs, and we've put them into an app for you. You have direct hyperlinks to a Google Drive folder that we have, and you have access to download, fill out those documents, and if they're a Word version, you can obviously fill them in and do it that way. Training, simply this is going to be an app with a bunch of training videos that we explain exactly how you can set up your weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual goals in here, how to run your meetings, set your rocks, stuff like that will be talked about and discussed in these training videos that we set up and put onto our Vimeo account, and you'll have direct access from this app. The Scorecard Goals app, this is where you're going to come in at preferably, obviously, the beginning of the year. You're going to set your yearly goal, your quarterly goals, your monthly goals, and then break that down to a weekly goal. And obviously, that's probably going to take the better part of probably 3-4 hours at a minimum, I would say, in the morning of starting the year, setting up those different goal types. And once you have those, what this system will do is if I click into this, it's going to have exactly what you have signed up for as far as a KPI. You can see here I'm just showing the weekly, and we have an owner. There's only one owner to a KPI. There's not 2 people. It's 1. That person ultimately is responsible for that KPI happening, yes or no, on track, off track. That's the end of it. And you can see here the goal type is weekly. You have a start date for that. So for this, it would be starting on, okay, for this you have a goal starting date of the 22nd, and then you would have for a weekly ending probably the 29th, 1 week later. Your weekly target, you can see for this was 400. Your person would be assigned to this. They would get a task the day before of your meeting, and that would have them come in there and fill out actually how many of the outbound calls happen, how many of the connections, seller prospects, leads, and the difference between those two is a prospect they called in, a lead actually has a house for sale that they can sell, appointments set, completed, offers made, signed contracts closed, and so forth. So one person is assigned to each specific KPI from within your team. Obviously, if you're a one-man band, you're assigned to every single one at this point in time. So obviously, you're going to set up what your goal is on an annual. You'll work backwards to what the quarterly are, the monthly, and then the weekly. If you're consistent with your marketing, consistent with returning the phone calls, consistent with setting appointments, making offers, and getting properties under contract, you'll consistently close deals and make money. So this is basically going to hold you accountable. Every week, this app is going to take these and it's going to grab all of these and create this exact same thing in the actuals area, and it will be blank in there with all your goals already filled in and the name and all that stuff. But what the actuals area has is a spot for you to fill out what the actual number is. So you'll go in on the actuals app on a weekly basis. If you're tagged on being the KPI responsible owner, you'll put in the actual number and say you fill it out on a Monday because your meetings are on Tuesdays. Tuesday, you'll have your level 10 meeting. Part of that level 10 meeting is to come in and go over these KPIs. You'll go over the KPIs, see what was met, what wasn't met, why wasn't it met, what needs to be discussed. If there's something that needs to be adjusted, did marketing not go out? Did marketing get messed up? Do we need to increase marketing? Whatever the case may be, whatever goal items did not get hit, why did they not get met? So at any point in time, if you wanted to add goals such as I brought up direct mail or Google pay-per-click, your spend amount, or cold calls or anything like that, you can add these different category fields within 30 seconds and basically tell the system, hey, this is a new KPI, who the owner is, what the goal is, if it's a weekly one, give it a scorecard number to fall within this list. You can see these are the list numbers, what the start date was, and then what the weekly goal is. And if that's just the weekly goal, go ahead, save that new item. And now every week it's going to grab that and create that as a new weekly in your actuals. And that person will be assigned every week that they need to fill out those actual numbers. So what happens is you now have the ability, if I start scrolling down, you'll be able to see how many owners to the different KPIs. So you see right now it's obviously just the one assigned to all of them, but you can see that. You can see how many actual KPIs there actually are. You can see the goal type broken down by week, month, quarter, and year. You can see then within the week, the month, the quarter, and the year, the actual categories broken down within that area. And for the weekly reports, we let you select on a category button, and I'll show you that here in a minute, what date you want those run. So if your meeting is on a Monday, you probably want your reports to be ran on either Sunday or Friday so your people can fill in their numbers before the Monday meeting. For us, we chose to have our meetings on Tuesdays. So the reports are ran on a Monday. They fill out their reports on Monday, and all of these for us would be ran then on Monday, and those are just your weeklies. So your monthlies are basically going to be ran on the last day of the month. It's going to create the new items the last day of the month, and then obviously the first, second time frame of the next month, your people will go in there and fill out the last month's information for the monthly KPIs. Once the quarter has passed that last day of the quarter, it will create the blank item for the quarter, and it'll tell you what that goal was, and then your person will have to look at the last 3 months, and they'll go ahead and they'll fill out what the goal, or it'll have the goal, but they'll fill in what the actual numbers were for the last 3 months. Did you meet what your goal was? And then at the very end of the year, obviously now you have the different quarters that are filled out. You take those, you add them, and you get your annual. Your annual will obviously show, did you meet your goal? Did you not meet your goal? Do you need to relook at what some of your goals were? Were they obtainable? All that good stuff. So let me jump in and go over to what the actuals looks like here in a second. So this is the actuals app, and you can see right now I'm in just the weekly view. So I've clicked right here on goal type weekly. So your people would come in, they would weekly get a task sent in probably to their email, depending on their Podio settings, that tells them, hey, you have a task. You need to fill out your actual numbers for your KPIs. And what that email looks like is this right here. So it'll tell them a due date. It'll tell them, hey, it's time to fill out your KPIs, what the KPI was. It's a weekly. Here's a direct link. Click here and it'll take you right to it to fill in your numbers. So they'll come over here and they can come into the app if they want. They can click on to this individual item. They're assigned to it. They're going to come in here. They're going to see, for instance, we'd say, all right, last Thursday this item was created. This Thursday we're having our meeting, so we're filling it in on Wednesday. So the weekly goal was 400. We can say, all right, what was our actual number? Did we get 450 or did we get 300? Did we not meet it? Whatever the case may be, fill out your actual number. Once you're done, you go down to the bottom, check off the task that was created, and you'll go up to the top, and you'll go ahead and member has approved this, meaning you put in your number, the number is approved by you who's assigned to the KPI. As you come into your weekly meetings, obviously none of these should say in review. If they say in review, somebody didn't fill out their numbers. That's a whole nother problem to discuss, why people aren't actually doing what they're responsible to. Weekly come in here, Monday morning meetings or Tuesday morning meetings, whatever the case may be, you should be able to come in here as part of your level 10 meetings. You should be able to come into this app and start rolling through the numbers, and by that time, because they'll have filled out what the actuals were, you'll be able to literally see what was the goal, what was the actual, what was the goal, what was the actual, and just go down the line and you can see whether the stuff was met or not. You can see one of the things we have here is gross and net profit. Obviously, one of the other things that should be on here is marketing being sent out weekly as well. But if you scroll over gross and net, you can see right here, here's the net and goal. So goal and then actual amount. So you fill those in and you can real quickly see if you're meeting your weekly, your monthly, your quarterly, and annual goals when you're being held accountable, because in the back end, Podio is creating these every week and assigning tasks every week to the members that are assigned to these KPIs, and you're reviewing these every week on your level 10 meetings that you're having as part of the level 10 traction EOS model. All right, what does that weekly meeting level 10 app look like? So this is what ours looks like. Basically, you'd go in and you would enter in obviously your company's name. It's a level 10 meeting, what date and time you're going to have it on, who's going to be attending or invited to it. We use Zoom. We record everything on a computer screen, and that allows us, I'll show you later, where we actually take the recording, both audio, video, and save the links to a read-only area in our Google Drive. Management obviously has access to edit, delete, but everyone else read-only. But we put them up there, we save them, and put them in here so that if anyone has a question as to what was said or done in the weekly meetings, they can come in here and re-review that. Now, all that being said, you can see here, here's the agenda for these weekly meetings that we roll through. Personal good news, and then we're going to roll through the scorecards. Now you see it says 5 minutes, so there's not time for I didn't meet the goal, and there's 30 other reasons why I didn't meet the goal, and it's not my fault, my dog died, I forgot my homework, and everything else. It's on track, off track, and that's it. We'll talk about why you didn't meet it towards the tail end of the meeting, but when we're going through the initial portion of the scorecard, I don't need to know 6 different reasons why it's not done. It's done or not done, and you're responsible for it. Somehow, some way, make it happen. Rock review. You'll see there's a Rock app, and again, those are 3 to 7 priorities for your company for every 90 days. You'll go through those rocks, review those. Are they on track, off track? That's where it's left at that point. You're not going to get into discussions of why not, on track, off track. That's it. You're going to talk about any possible headlines, seller buyers that are issues, any flips that are issues, any rentals that are issues, whatever the case may be for your business model. But go over what those issues are. To-do list. you're going to look back at last week's meeting. You had some to-do list. You can see here, to-do list, and we've got our names in here and what those were. Review those to-do lists. Were they done? Were they not done? And quickly go through if they are done or not done. Conclusion, 5 minutes. You can see this kind of rolls through that this is an hour meeting. Obviously, towards the end, there's going to be meetings where you have some larger items, larger problems, issues that need to be worked through. Take that last half an hour, meaning an hour and a half meeting. At last half an hour, work through those bigger issues towards the end of the meeting so that some of the people that answer phones or some of your acquisition people that may not be needed can go back to their job. You guys can, on a management level, take care of the bigger issues. You're going to run through and obviously do the to-do list, create any to-do list for the next week, create any issue list as you guys are kind of talking about things, going through the meeting, and then obviously at the end, work through those issues if needed. Any notes on the meeting that need to be put in. And then towards the end of that meeting, every person part of your team would be in here and they give a rating from 1 to 10, 1 to 100%, whatever you want to call it, but they're going to, productive-wise, was it good? Did we get distracted? Could we do better here or there? Whatever the case may be, they're going to give you a rating. We then take this, we have our Zoom meeting, we upload it onto Google Drive. Again, read-only folder. Management can edit, delete, whatever the case may be, but we use G Suite and I'll have the company share drive up there. And then we'll put that link in here so that our people can come back, review any audio, video from that meeting if they need to. Let's see here. I'm going to jump over. You can see the rocks. This is again your 3 to 7 priorities for your company for the next 90 days. We're going to say company, department, individual, on track, off track, who's going to run with it, and ultimately responsible to make it happen. Any resources or any team members that are involved, go ahead, put them there. Resources, when, where, why, who, all that good stuff. Fill it in and make it happen. These are obviously goals that are usually aligned with either revenue type goals. You're going to break them down into these rocks that make that revenue happen, stuff like that. Documents. This is again a share drive. We've got this set up where we have taken the EOS documents, put them onto our Google Drive. We have them to where you guys can download them, view them, edit them if they're a Word document, and get you to where you can basically set up your vision tracker, your accountability chart, your analyzer for people, your DISC profile, Kobe profile, and then what the meeting pulse looks like, quarterly rocks, issue solving, all that stuff that you need to know or know how to do for these level 10 type meetings and or setting these goals and rocks. The documents are right here for you. So you'll have access to that as well. One of the other things that we knew that needed to happen is you guys would need to know how to use the apps. So you have your training app. Training app is going to be some videos that are uploaded to a SharePoint share drive area. It will explain exactly how to add any goals to the Scorecard Goals app, and then basically how does that run, how does that create the area on the Actuals app so that you know where you're filling stuff out, you're not messing the stuff up, and you know exactly how to kind of filter through your data and make sure that it's not a confusing mess for you. But we'll have some training videos exactly how to use the different apps, probably one video on each of the apps, and then we'll go through how to work through each of the KPIs, making sure that you're checking off, getting the actuals done, working the task, and then the level 10 type questions. Guys, got any questions on how to do any of this or how we do it, feel free to reach out to me. You can Facebook me, you can send us an email, reiautomation@gmail.com. Website is www.reiautomationsquad.com. Haven't decided yet if we're going to release this app suite out to everybody that's got Podio for like an add-on type fee, or if we're going to do this as a CRM only for our CRM clients and some type of add-on for them that they can pick or choose to have this when they get set up with our CRM. I'm not sure yet. I need some feedback from you guys if this is something that y'all are interested in or not. I can tell you right now it's built out that it could be bolted on to any Podio. I just don't know if it makes sense for us to hold it in-house or to share it with everybody else at this point. Let me know. Reach out to me. Appreciate it, guys, and look forward to talking with you next week. Please vote on the different training topics, and we'll make sure to get another one out to you next week.